Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new, and today I have a very long awaited video for you guys. It is the 5th Sheffield update video. Now, I have not posted one of these in almost 2 years. I think the last one was in June of 2023. Basically, the reason for this, I will explain, is from sometime in late 2023 or like early 2024, I stopped playing with the Sheffields because there was some update. It was for an expansion pack, I don't remember which one, but it broke EA Lashes, and I could not for the life of me find my No EA Lashes mod in my mods folder, and it was messing with toddlers' faces. And spoiler to the end of this video, there's 2 new additions to the family that were aging up into toddlers around the time of this update, and it was just warping their faces, and I honestly did not want to play with this save file until I knew it was fixed, and it literally took me such a long time to fix this mod issue, mainly because after this happened, I just dropped The Sims completely for literal months on end, almost a year. It was something really crazy. I just didn't have the time to play. It wasn't because I didn't want to play. But I recently, a few months ago, came back to it, and I've been constantly, I fixed the update, the mod that was causing this issue, and I've been absolutely loving this family again. So everything in this video was literally from, almost 2 years ago, which is really insane. And thankfully, this script has been pre-written since 2023, and I had no idea. I totally forgot it. So thank God for this one, because unfortunately for the next video, everything that's going to be in that video was also from about 2 years ago, and I don't remember everything that happened, so I'm going to have to look at the screenshots and just kind of figure it out as I go when I write that script. But thankfully this one was pre-written in 2023. Yes, it is 2025, almost the middle of 2025, so I am very behind on this update video, but I promise they're coming. The Sheffields are back. And in saying that, let's get into this update video, you guys. So when we last left off, Clover and Ollie had just celebrated their birthdays and aged up, but a lot has happened, or I should say had happened, since then. Starting off with the twins and Leo, all 3 of them had been making progress in the relationship department. Luna and James had been getting closer, and things were heating up between them. Anytime that Leo was off at work, Luna would invite over her boyfriend, and they would have some fun, let's say that, together. And sometimes Luna would also invite over their friend Lilia, and when Luna and James would sneak off for some alone time, it would leave Lilia alone. And Noah would come home from her drama classes and see Lilia in the living room, and she would feel bad for them, so she would go over and talk to them, and this led to the 2 of them getting pretty close, and Noah was honestly starting to question her feelings for Lilia. Even though Noah was questioning her feelings for Lilia, and even her sexuality, there was a boy at school that took interest in Noah. She had 2 friends named Charlie and Joshua, and Josh had asked Noah on a date one day. When the date first began, Josh had taken forever to arrive, and Noah thought she was stood up. Thankfully, he was just running behind, and the 2 of them got dinner together. It ended up with the 2 of them sharing a kiss, which was Noah's first kiss. She was happy that she finally got to experience it, but she felt like something was missing. It didn't feel very special to her at all. She didn't know why, but assumed it was because she didn't have very many strong feelings towards Josh, and she just kind of saw him as more of a friend. Even Leo had been making some progress in the relationship department. He had been with Lauren for quite some time now, and the 2 of them were taking further steps with their relationship. Prom night and graduation were approaching, and the 2 twins were very focused on their time in high school. Noah wanted to study for all of her exams and do some extracurriculars, while Luna was more focused on finally finishing high school, sneaking off from her classes to go smoke in the washroom with Lilia, and sneaking off to hook up with her boyfriend in the school showers. School was never Luna's thing. She hated the people around her, she was always getting into fights, and loved pranking lockers and whiteboards. But prom night had arrived, and the girls wanted to look their best. Lauren and Dana had both offered to help the girls get ready. Despite being divorced, Dana and Leo were still actively co-parenting, and Dana loves how present Lauren is in the girls' lives as well. The two of them actually get along super well, and Dana is so happy that Leo found someone special for him and their daughters. But speaking of prom night, before getting ready, Luna autonomously pulled out her bong and smoking weed in front of her dad, and Leo was pissed. After this moment, Luna wasn't allowed to smoke in my game for like 3 sim days. But back to prom, everyone had showed up for an extra special prom night. Luna low-key hated the idea of school dances, so obviously, James, and Lilia spent most of the night high, but despite hating them, she had an incredible time with her sister, her cousin, her boyfriend, and her other friends. Despite the obvious bad influence that James had originally had on Luna, they had a really strong relationship. They both cared about each other and only wanted the best for one another. Strong, genuine love that they finally admitted that they had on prom night, sharing their I love yous. And now Noah spent her final dance with Joshua, since the two of them had won prom queen and jester. And he was excited to share that dance, but Noah could only think about how she could have been dancing with someone else. Lilia. And during the past few weeks before prom, the two of them had actually had a secret relationship. Nothing official, just like physical and fun. After classes were finished, Lilia would text Noah to meet her outside, and the two of them would talk, flirt, and even some more fun. It ended with them sharing a kiss, and with more time passing, the two would kind of do more together, including hook up in the school showers. She was just kind of like her sister in the end of the day. Losing her virginity with Lilia felt right to Noah. She wasn't typically like this, but she didn't care when it came to Lilia. You know, they made Noah feel different, and Noah loved the excitement, but all that would remain a secret, as Noah was too afraid to come to terms with her sexuality. Finally, moving on to a different household, there was a lot going on in the Sheffield Sheridan household. Hayden and Ace loved spending time with their kids, and thankfully, since they were getting older, their hands weren't as busy with them. Sunny had turned into a little genius and spent most of her time focusing on school and science experiments, which resulted in a house fire one time. Scared me so bad, but don't worry everyone, it's okay. Sunny's main love was for marine biology. At a young age, she became obsessed with the ocean and marine wildlife, and one day her grandparents surprised her with a trip to Sulani. Sunny spent most of her time in the ocean, where she actually got to swim and play with a dolphin, and this experience felt so surreal to her, and from this moment on, she knew that she wanted to move to Sulani one day. And the rest of her family spent the trip relaxing, tanning, building sandcastles with Milo, but Ace was just grateful that his kids got to spend some quality time with their grandparents. And let's go back to some high school life now. Ollie had been starting high school and was getting readjusted to this new life as a teenager. He would spend time with his cousins, but he also wanted to make some new friends. One of his first friends that he ended up making was a girl named Kennedy Cruz. He felt like they had so much in common, and he loved spending time with her. You know, the more time that he spent with her, the more time that he realized he actually had a crush on her. But one day he decided to chance it, and he asked her on a date, and she thankfully said yes, and the two of them had a wonderful time together. Kennedy had actually admitted to also having a crush on Ollie, and she mentioned that she was super excited when he had first asked her out, and by the end of the day, the two of them had shared their first kiss. And crazy enough, they even made things official. They were definitely moving fast, but neither of them thought this was a problem, and they were just happy to have each other. Going back to Ace's household for a second, it was another busy week. Hayden, Philip, and Milo all had their birthdays to celebrate. Everyone was busy making sure that this party was perfect, and Sunny was very excited for her little brother to be old enough to spend some more time with her. But graduation was around the corner for Noah and Luna, and they decided that they wanted to take some time off and spend a weekend away with their friends, and they all went to Mount Komorebi, but before going on the trip, James had to have a talk with Leo. Leo made sure to tell the kids that no funny business should happen while they were gone, that they needed to behave, be safe, but most importantly, just have some fun, and that is exactly what they did. The twins and their friends had spent some time on the slopes, skiing, snowboarding the day away, but Once the night hit, the real fun began. Noah had originally been sharing a bedroom with Joshua since a couple weeks prior. He had asked her to make things official. Instead of spending most of the time in their room, she would sneak off and spend it in Lilia's room. They had spent most of this trip sneaking around with each other without ever getting caught, but this honestly made Noah feel really guilty. She was at a point where she was trying to come to terms with her sexuality, and she realized that she was a lesbian. She was never into guys, and she only wanted to convince herself that she was. So on the final night of the trip, she went over to Joshua's room and she told him the truth. She never really had feelings for him, that she only always saw him as a friend, and that she was just into girls. And he was disappointed to know this, but he was glad to hear the truth, glad that he was no longer wasting his time anymore. The two of them ended on good terms, and Noah went to tell Lilia everything. She told them that she was finally ready to start a real relationship, that she had finally accepted herself, that she wanted to be with them. And from there, Noah's relationship with Lilia began. Once the trip ended, the girls spent some quality time with family, and Noah came out to them. They were all extremely supportive and grateful that she could tell them who she really was. All they wanted was for her to be happy. Rolling back to Ace's household, once again, there was more birthdays. I feel like Ace's household is like the birthday household, but this time I was feeling even more emotional than before because it was Ace, Leo, Dana, and Kelsey's birthdays. The family was all spending time with each other, preparing to celebrate their father's birthdays. Ace and Leo have always been such babies in my eyes, but now that they're officially grown up, like Clover, Ace, and Leo were all officially adults at this point, and the end of an era for my channel had kind of come to an end, and I was just not prepared for this at all. But now I am, because it's 2025, it's 2 years since I've played this, and they've been adults for so long. Like, their children are young adults. Like, their children are having children. Like, it's insane. But no more spoilers. Hopping back over to Clover's household, Ollie and Kennedy always move fast with their relationship. And one of those things was woohooing for the first time. They did it in Ollie's treehouse one night. And neither of them knew this was going to happen. It was very spontaneous. And because it was spontaneous, neither of them came prepared, so no protection was used. A few weeks later, Kennedy hadn't been feeling too well. You can see where this is headed. And she decided to take a pregnancy test, and to no one's surprise, she was pregnant. Taking this test hit her hard. She was suddenly overcome by so many negative emotions. She did not feel ready to be a mother, but she knew she had to tell Ollie. She ended up sitting down with him and showing him the test. He was honestly so shocked at first. He didn't really know how to respond, and all he could think about was what his parents would think. And later that day, Ollie and Kennedy sat down with Clover and Philip, and they told them the news. Both parents were disappointed in their teenagers for not being more careful, but they promised them that they would support them no matter what they decided to do. Kennedy was filled with so much confusion on what to do with the baby, but ultimately she decided that she wanted to continue with her pregnancy and would figure out if she wanted to put the baby up for adoption or keep it when she was further along. And Ollie, despite being shocked, was actually also quite excited once the pregnancy progressed. He never had a sibling, he always loved children, and he loved spending time with his family, so the idea of having a baby kind of sounded like something he knew would be challenging, but also something that he saw would be one day quite rewarding. And after some time, Kennedy decided that she wanted to keep the baby. Clover and Philip continued to support the soon-to-be parents, and once Kennedy's second trimester rolled along, they decided to surprise the teens, and they threw a baby shower. Ollie spent the party reassuring Kennedy that they would make great parents, while something inside her felt off, both in her gut and in a physical sense. During the party, Kennedy suddenly felt extreme pain. Clover, Philip, and Ollie rushed her to the hospital, but while they were there, they received some devastating news. Kennedy had suffered a miscarriage and lost their baby boy. And honestly, this came as such shock to me because I had honestly been always planned for them to be teen parents but I never planned or even thought about the possibility of a miscarriage happening. And it was actually such like a sad moment for the Sheffields. And me. I was a little sad as well, seeing my Sims so devastated, but little baby boy Sheffield would always be remembered. And with some unfortunate news came some happier times a few weeks later. In San Myshuno, it was nearing Noah and Luna's birthdays. Oh my gosh, the girls were finally becoming young adults. They'd finished high school and were preparing for graduation. Noah had already secured herself a spot at an acting agency, and Luna was beginning to prepare herself to join the WCPD, Willow Creek's police department, as a detective. And obviously, Leo was planning on throwing the girls a birthday party to celebrate, but before that, he had some news for them. The girls were now at an age where they could live on their own, and Leo and Lauren were at a point in their relationship where they wanted more from each other. They had previously discussed the idea of moving in together, but Leo never wanted to while the girls were still in high school. But now that they were older, he planned to move into Lauren's apartment and give the girls a place of their own. It was going to be sad to see their father go, but they were mature enough to take care of themselves, and he'd always be down the road if they ever needed him. After this party finally began, and the twins and their friends were all aging up. Goodbye high school, hello young adulthood. They started off young adulthood with their graduations, which, to no one's surprise, Luna was high during. But the girls got their diplomas, celebrated with their loved ones, and life was officially beginning. Luna had spent her first week on the job doing desk work, investigating a crime scene, taking crime reports, checking DNA samples, patting down criminals, and, of course, smoking on the job, too. She randomly started doing this, and I couldn't stop laughing, because it was quite possibly like the most inappropriate place she could have pulled out her bong. Over to their uncle's household. It was once again another birthday, but this time it was Sunny's. Her and Milo had gotten to be really close while they were both children, but she was finally becoming old enough to spend some more time with her favorite cousin and best friend Ollie. I feel like Sunny, I didn't really play with them too much while she was a child, or at least get screenshots for this video now that I'm really thinking about it. But I loved Sunny as a child. She honestly was like probably my favorite out of all the children. I'm very excited for her to age up into a young adult in my game soon, because I think her life is going to be a very fun one that I have planned. So yeah, this birthday ended up being a very sad day, however. After selecting to invite everyone to the party, I'd gotten a notification and Ace and the kids began getting calls. Oh, guys, the day had finally come. A day that I had been dreading for almost 2 years at this point. Brynn Sheffield had passed away. Brynn was the first ever sim on my channel, and she blessed me with my favorite sims that I have ever had. So honestly, hearing about her death devastated me. I actually had to pause my game for a while and just soak in the news. I actually think I cried. I genuinely do have an emotional attachment to this family. Like, I have been playing with them for 4 years now, since 2021. It is 2025. So that is a long time to be playing with the Sims family, but I love everything about them. They are just so fun to play with. So seeing, like, the heir of it all pass away was really sad. I knew her time's coming, but I was never prepared to let her go, so in honor of Brynn, thank you for everything. But moving on to some happier news, Kennedy had moved in with Ollie and his parents after her parents kicked her out of the house due to her pregnancy, so this meant that her and Ollie were spending a lot of times together, and one thing that they would do was woohoo. Now this is on me. I forgot to put the pack of condoms that I bought for Ollie in his inventory, but I didn't realize that I had forgotten to do this until I got a notification popping up that said Kennedy was pregnant. Like, even after they woohooed, I didn't realize he still didn't have them on him. When I saw she was pregnant, I was like, what? And then I looked in his inventory and they were on the nightstand. I was like, oh my god. So even after the miscarriage, I gave up with the original plan of Ollie becoming a teenage parent, but you know, an accident on my behalf, and in my game, you know, kind of planned otherwise. So they ended up talking about this pregnancy and decided that they were both very happy about it. It was like a second chance. And they once again told Ollie's parents, and once again they were supportive, although a little disappointed that the teens were not more careful this time. but it's okay. But Clover threw another baby shower to celebrate, which also doubled as Blake's birthday party, into a young adult. If you guys don't really know who Blake is, it's Will and Kelsey's daughter, so like a cousin to the family, at least to Luna and Noah. And I made sure that Ollie spent a lot of time with his cousins and got Kennedy to spend some time with Alistair, who was very excited to become a great-grandfather, although it made him feel even older than he already is. And he mentioned that Brynn would have loved to have met their future baby, which made Kennedy very happy to hear. And some time had passed, and it was officially the final trimester, and Kennedy went into labor. Her and Ollie headed to the hospital, where they were there for about 2 sim days. Ollie made sure to stay by her side and support her as much as possible. And Kennedy was honestly a trooper. She was doing so much walking and exercise, like as much as she possibly could, and getting massages from Ollie when she needed, and eventually also getting some epidural because the contraction pains were way too painful. And eventually Kennedy was fully dilated, and the time had arrived for her to give birth. She pushed and she pushed until finally a beautiful baby boy was born. But then my game decided to surprise me again. And of course, the Sheffield curse had returned because apparently it was twins. Yeah, Kennedy also pushed out a beautiful baby girl. I was honestly not expecting this at all. Like, I hadn't had the time to check the gender or the numbers of the babies before the birth process. But one thing I could tell you is I definitely did not want twins. There was no space in the house in Hemford for twins. So in that moment, I knew I had to do some building, but besides how I felt, Kennedy and Ollie named the twins Spencer and Macy Sheffield, and the 2 of them were parents to twins. That is all you've missed, at least for this update. Obviously, way more has happened since, but I will save that for another video, so it is not as jam-packed into one as it could possibly be. But I really hope you guys are excited, or were excited about this video. Like I said, I know it's been literally 2 years since my last update, so it is definitely very easy to lose interest in these kinds of videos, or just, you know, kind of forget about everything that happened. So if you did forget, I really hope you went back and like watched at least the previous video to get some knowledge back in. But yeah, I always knew I would come back to making these videos. I just didn't know when I would have the chance, but here I am. I have the chance. This script has been written since I think September 2023, and it is May 2025, but it's okay. Better late than never, I will say. And like I was saying, I love these Sims. I don't know if there'll ever be a day I put these Sims down, and don't come back to this family. I'm sure there will be one day, but at least not anytime soon. I have way too much fun with them. I really wish I was on, I have in screenshots up to about like video 7 or 8 right now. So I really wish I was that far into these update videos because my game is so exciting right now, guys. Like, I really wish I could share, but unfortunately not yet. Not quite. In saying that, guys, like I said, I really hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a big thumbs up. Comment down below your thoughts on everything that happened in this video. Cause like I said, I know it's a lot. Mainly for Kennedy and Ollie. I feel like Kennedy and Ollie are currently like my main 2 Sims that I'm focused on right now, to be honest. I think I'm just like at a point in the twins, like Luna and Noah's lives, in my current gameplay, where I feel like I'm at a standstill, where I'm like collectively waiting for the right moment for them to progress more in like storyline or like family related stuff, let's say that. While like obviously Kennedy and Ollie have literal children already, so it's a lot more easy to get sucked up in their lives than like the lives of the Sheffield kids that don't have families yet, especially like the teens as well, like Sunny and Milo. They're like currently teens in my game, so like sometimes I really forget about them because they're still teenagers, but Sunny's about to age up in my game, so at least I can finally dive into her life, which I'm so excited for. But yeah, and saying that, like I said, comment down below if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.